From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of Evenings LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In tonight's recording, we go over the breaking news of the incredible provisions in that recon and a major vote happening in less than 24 hours. The recon has passed the House of Representatives, now in the Senate, and a major vote will be happening on Tuesday that could potentially make it easier to pass the recon, with Senate changes are being robust to this incredible recon that already has multiple checks in there, at least $15,000, on top of the $45,000 of checks on the third stimulus, repeated again under fourth stimulus. We're going to go over the latest details on that tonight, direct from Santa Monica on evenings. Then we'll be going over that MSC, that monthly IRS stimulus check, and the push underway to get it in there, $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. Student loan debt forgiveness, the latest details on that. This stimulus, the breaking details about that starting in the month of January. All that exciting details across the board. We'll be going over the new inflationary numbers, the new statements from the White House signaling that Joe Biden wants you to get lots of checks and wants that recon to be done ASAP. The major vote happening on Tuesday and what that means for you, and why that recon will be the biggest payout you ever see in the history of this channel, but why the vote tomorrow, not about the recon, but related to the recon, will make it easier across the board. A lot of details, plus my commentary tonight about the issue of calling it for stimulus recon 2021 versus 2022. It's very fascinating. I have the analysis about it tonight as well. So many details. I'm back with you direct from Santa Monica, California. It's January. Everything's the same. I'm here. You're here. The plant's sort of different. I think Sirloin ate them. He ate them. He couldn't eat the bacon because there's no bacon, you know. That was missing as well. But a big, bold, beautiful evening starts right here, right now, with all the breaking news, exciting news about that recon, a major vote happening in less than 48 hours. All this incredible details and more starts right here, right now, as Evenings LA gets underway from Santa Monica, California. Hey, good evening, everybody. I hope you're good. That recon passed the House of Representatives in the month of December. Guess what? A major vote will be happening tomorrow, Tuesday, and all this week, which makes it easier to pass the recon into law. What is this major vote? And what are these Senate changes that will be adding provisions to this incredible recon that has at least about $50,000 to $60,000 of checks in there as well? We're going to go over all these incredible checks in that incredible recon, starting with $15,000 upwards of $60,000, plus the push to add in MSC, monthly IRS stimulus check. Joe Biden wants these checks to go out, and in top of the $45,000 of checks that are also in this recon for third stimulus. The latest details on student loan debt forgiveness tonight, and the breaking details about that COLA raise and your impact of fifth stimulus. Have you gotten your January benefits check? If you're looking at it and you're trying to figure out what it means or what it means for next month's checks, I'll have all the analysis tonight across the board. It's a big, bold, beautiful evening. I'm excited to be with you. We have a lot of breaking news. It is a jam-packed week with a lot of happening details in the next 48 hours across the board. But first, I want you to go on this video and subscribe. You're watching LA, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, with the most comprehensive coverage you're going to see across the board. Subscribe, like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes. It helps in the algorithm rankings. And consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. The link to become a member is under the video right now. And also sign up for those LA alerts so you get an alert when a new video goes live across the board. In tonight's recording, we have a lot going on, so stay to the very end. We're going to first go over the checks in the recon, then the MSC checks, then the vote, then the developing details of tomorrow's major details across the board, and then we're going to go over more about the checks one at a time. Let's go over what you need to know starting right now, is that there's at least $15,000 of checks in this incredible recon, fourth stimulus recon, also called the Build Back Better Act, also called the BBB, or the Social Spending Plan, with 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons. Let's go over each of them, starting right now. First cluster got in there. Hazard pay for my earned income tax credit for my essential workers. $4,000 of elder care got in as well. They got in there the CTC, $3,600 for the young children for 1 more year across the board. Care for young children got in there. $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. Free money to repair your home if you live in a low-income community. $550 Pell Grant checks got in there as well. And just a lot of incredible checks in just that first cluster, including nutrition checks and more. You already see just in this first cluster, there's a lot of checks in this recon, multiple checks. But let's go to the first add-on of checks. It comes from the illustrious Maxine Waters. She wanted to give you $25,000. She got a little bit less. What is this? This is money for the purchase of your first home. Yes, real incredibleness. If you want to buy your first home, Maxine Waters got it in there. Passed in the House, now in the Senate. Let's go to the second cluster of checks. Here we go. Home repairs and paid leave. This is weatherize your home. Then paid leave is a lot of money. $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. $800 a week if you make $35,000 or more per year. $400 a week if you make $15,000 or more per year. Now, let's say you don't work, but your son and daughter does work. They take you to the doctor's appointments once a week. They're going to get the check for taking off work across the board. Which brings us to the incredible third add-on of checks. And that third add-on of checks comes from the illustrious Bob Casey out of Pennsylvania. $250 billion, just a little bit less, for home health care, free for seniors and people on disabilities. Wow. This is a Joe Biden promise. It got in there. Let's go to the third cluster of checks, which is where we find true deliciousness. Free internet and seniors are in this third cluster. So what is in this third cluster? Well, free school meals for all checks. Immigration reform checks removed by the Senate parliamentarian, but money for the farmers still in there. The free internet still in there. Money for the independent contractors, got it in there. Then for the seniors, 2 provisions in there on the House, but 3 reportedly to add on the Senate side. Let's go over the equation of it right now. On the House side, they got in there the Medicaid gap fix for seniors, and then they got in there the hearing. On the Senate side, the senators vowed to add 3 provisions for the seniors, which are dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, currently at 65, potentially as low as 55 is where Bernie Sanders wants it across the board. Sound familiar? This all should sound familiar because it's just like MSC. That is the third provision they're vowing to add in there. When we go over MSC, starting right now, I'm going to go over eligibility first, then I'll go over the amount, then I'll go over when, and then I'm going to go over how. First, let's understand what MSC stands for. It stands for multiple or monthly IRS stimulus check. The reason why we use that language on this channel is to make it clear what this thing is and what it's not. There are multiple checks in this fourth stimulus recon. There is upwards of $15,000 to $60,000 of multiple checks. That's different than what you see on screen right now. MSC are additional checks, but refer to the ones that come out from IRS on a monthly basis. All right, let's go over eligibility first to start. Who gets it? In the month of May, all the way up to the present, the legislators have talked about eligibility. And what they said? Single individual, $75,000 or less, would get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, would get it. Double it. Family of 4 would get it. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security Rural Benefits, you would get it as well. What do they say? The senators say that the eligibility would be the same as a third stimulus check. Adult dependents got it as well and would get it again. The fourth stimulus, MSC, is not income. It's not taxable. It's federal stimulus, so it comes from the federal government. It has nothing to do with your state or county. So don't ask, is this something only in a state or only in a city? No, this comes from the federal government. It's offered nationwide, and that is the eligibility. Let's go over, then, the price point. How much? Well, these legislators have told thousands of viewers of this channel, tens of thousands of viewers of this channel, since May, that it would be $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, up to 6 months. Which brings us to then one of the most important questions. When? How? Let me go over all those details for you right now. Let me pull the MSC graphic off my face because it looks nice, but I don't want to block my beautiful face with a graphic. Vanity on Evenings LA. It's here and live. All right. So let me go over when and how. This is very important. When we talk about the Forced Stimulus Recon, it has a lot of different names. First, it also has the Social Spending Plan, the Build Back Better Act, the BBB, or the BBB Act. There's a lot of different names for the same thing. These provisions in this recon are all different provisions, and the MSC is one of the many provisions in this recon that they vow to add in there. Now, how? When? I describe it the best way I can, which is describing it by the analogy of the Monaco Grand Prix. Grand Prix is when they race cars in a track. Monaco is a principality in the south of France, near the south of France, called the Principality of Monaco. And in the Monaco Grand Prix, they drive the cars around the town of Monte Carlo, the Principality of Monaco, near the harbor. Now imagine during the race, the announcer gets on the intercom and says, "Pull over to the side of the road." Excuse me? Pull over to the side of the road. We're having a croissant break. Croissants, I don't really like croissants, too buttery. That's what has sort of happened at the moment. They've pulled the recon over to the side of the road. Does not mean that the race is over. Doesn't mean that the race has a winner. Doesn't mean that the race is finished. So this is very important for you to understand across the board. Why? First, let's go over the what, and then we'll go over the why. What? The recon was passed by the House. You got that in the month of December, sent to the Senate. The senators never got to making their changes. Ron Wyden has lots of stuff to add. He never got to add his stuff. Bernie Sanders has lots of stuff to add. Never got to stuff to add. Liz Warren has lots of stuff to add. Never got her stuff to add. There are senators who want to remove stuff. They never got to remove stuff either as well. That event did not occur. When would the event occur? It would likely happen in the Senate subcommittees before they call the vote on the Senate floor. That event never happened. Then when the floor vote is called on the bill, which doesn't exist still, then they'd have the vote-a-rama the final 2 days when they still make changes. So you all understand then that event has not happened. Let me make this even more obvious. If you have a neighbor who's on the front porch and says, "I heard it's not in there. I don't know what LALATE's talking about. It's not in there." Your response to that neighbor is, "There is no there." We have an emoji for this. Not a bill yet. It passed in the House, but we don't have a Senate bill because the Senate bill involves modifications of the House bill. They haven't made those modifications. Why not? Okay, the why is a little bit more complicated. The why is because they have a lot of nuances of things they got to do. I'm going to be covering them after the commercial break. Stay with me. We have a lot of money in this recording. But that event has not happened, which brings us back to the issue of advocacy. There's a lot of stuff in this recon that's really incredible. You may like one provision, you may like 10 provisions. Pick up the phone and advocate. Now let's go over advocacy and how it's different here in January 2022 than it was in December. First, these legislators, these senators are elected to represent their cities, their state. Well, their senators are elected to represent their state. In the case of the 6 senators we feature on this channel, they're wonderful human beings because they represent more than just their state. Bernie Sanders has been a champion for seniors and their rights. He doesn't just champion seniors in the state of Vermont. He champions seniors nationwide. Liz Warren is a champion for students' rights and student loan forgiveness. She doesn't just do it for the state of Massachusetts, she does it nationwide. That is why these senators are absolutely God-sent. So understand that they may not be from your state, but they are there to help people across the board. Next. How is the advocacy different in January now than it was in December? Because we're on the side of the road in Monaco, and we're not about to pass the recon tomorrow. We're not about to vote on the recon subcommittee. We're not modifying the language of the subcommittee today or tomorrow. So time is not a crunch issue. We're not in a holding point of where something is happening in the next few hours. So the urgency of picking up the phone and flooding phone calls right now is not upon us. But you need to advocate. Once a week, pick up the phone. The advocacy of once a week is important. Why? These legislators are wonderful human beings, but they're in D.C. They don't know what's going on in your town or your community unless you tell them. They don't know what it's like where you are unless you tell them. So pick up the phone and advocate. Your situation may be different than the month of September. Maybe you remember the person you spoke to in a particular senator's office in the month of September. Ask for that person again. Say, hey, here's me again. I want to tell you why I still need it, and I want to tell you why I need it more than ever before. I'm talking about an example. This is not me. Hi, my name is Georgette, and I came down with Omicron, and my husband Bernie came down with Omicron, and my son Louis came down with Omicron. We all have Omicron, and this is why we need it. Or I tried to save my business, and it went under in the month of December. We need it more than ever before. Advocate for whatever you think you need to advocate for across the board. Next. You want to pick up the phone and call them maybe once a week because they need to be stayed in the loop so that when they get to the point at which they make modifications to this legislation in the Senate, they say, you know what? I got phone calls in January. I got phone calls in December. I'm having the same people who called me in January called me in December saying, did you get it in there? Please put it in there across the board. Now, who do you advocate to? You want to advocate to the same six people: Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer. Write down their names and contact them. The Purple Power on Twitter has been incredible because they've been sharing numbers of where to call. Do that. It helps people. Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer. These are absolutely wonderful human beings because they go beyond just the interests of their state. They go to help the nation as a whole. All right, next. When you're advocating, you're simply telling your story and why you need it. I need it because. That's all you're doing. I want to make this very clear. I made it before clear in the fall, but I want to make it clear now in January 2022. Do not ask if something is in there. Why? Because the there doesn't even exist. The there is presuming there's a bill. There is no bill yet. We have an emoji for this, not bill yet. So don't pick up the phone and say, hi, is there a this in that bill? No, because we don't have a bill. And the staffer will not have an answer for you because there is no bill yet. Moreover, you're asking a staffer, who's not a legislator, to do a hypothetical. Do you think that they will be putting it in when they do the bill in? That's a big hypothetical. Don't be asking it. Simply pick up the phone and advocate across the board. Next, I'm so proud of your advocacy. And in my pride of your advocacy as a Purple Power, I want to praise you, and I don't want to devalue anything else, but I also want to say, you know what? You ain't chopped liver, and don't let anyone make you feel like chopped liver. What's going on that may potentially try to make you look less significant than what you have done? It is a petition out there. Not the petition itself, but people reporting on the petition. There could be 40 petitions out there, and they all help. I don't care if the petition has 4 signatures or 10 signatures. It all helps. Everything that is out there helping helps. What I'm talking about is when someone reports on the advocacy and doesn't mention you. It is truly disrespectful to the Purple Power if they report on the American petition but does not report on the Purple Power. Why? Because you've done a lot more than the American petition. Astronomically more. Number one, you've done more substantively, and number two, you've done more quantitatively. Let's go over what's at issue. I'm going to go over this graphic right now, and then I'm going to go over the details of where we are right now. This graphic was the month of October. It was from the chief of staff to the number one guy in the recon. At that time, you had delivered 3 million phone calls to Congress advocating for provisions to be added to the Forced Stimulus Recon. This is what the message from that chief of staff, not staffer, chief of staff to that incredible senator in that recon said. They now have a total between congressional senator's office received more context of accuracy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition. That was October. At the time, the petition had 3 million. You had delivered more than 3 million phone calls in October. I can tell you now, you're nearly at 9 million phone calls. Everyone was amazed by the outpouring touching stories that chief of staff said in October. Now, they've been understanding what Americans are going through than a bunch of signatures to a petition. They have heartbreaking stories in the viewers, and they are the voice of the people across the nation. In ULA, it should become too loud to be ignored. Please continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy at the professional voice you have become until this becomes law. All right, let's go over why it's important to take pride in what you do and don't let anyone devalue you based upon bad news reporting in print, cable news, or wherever. When they only talk about the American petition but don't talk about you, it's disrespectful to you. And I'm going to tell you why. One, you've delivered more substantive advocacy than a petition. A petition starts with someone writing a few paragraphs and then people signing it. When you go to sign it, you're not writing anything. You're just putting your signature to something someone else wrote. So substantively, the content of the petition doesn't change with there's 20 signatures or 20,000 signatures. It's substantively the same thing. You have gone beyond that because you have taken the time to pick up the phone and speak to a senator's office and say, I need to tell you my unique situation. And everyone has a unique situation, and that's what resonates. So substantively, you've done more than the American petition. Second, you've done more work-wise than the American petition. Putting your name and signing something, it takes, look, I just did it. Done. Is that half a second? Pick up the phone and having a conversation with a staffer is a 5-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute, 45-minute endeavor. You've done a lot more than just this, which is 1 second. Number three, and this is sort of the obvious situation, you've delivered a lot more. You've delivered 9 million plus phone calls compared to a petition that's 3 million people going like this for 1 second. So don't let anyone devalue it. Again, I love the American petition. I praise the American petition. But what I don't praise is anyone who reports in print or cable news or other channels about the American petition as though as it is the source of advocacy for the recon. Here's the recon advocacy. Purple Power, American petition. And if they don't want to acknowledge you, that's fine. But don't let them discourage you or devalue you because you have done the history of the advocacy across the board. Now, what I want to do with you is give you something I usually don't put in this part of the recording, but I want to deliver right now because it's perfect tee up. The message comes in from the White House spokesperson, Andrew Bates, in the last 24 hours. When you're looking at a body of legislation like the Build Back Better Act or Forced Stimulus Recon, whatever you call it, you want to look at the number one guy who's behind it, the President of the United States. There's reasons why people run and become elected as president because they want to do things, whether it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden. They want to do things. And ultimately, if they want to do it, that's where you put your support behind that person. And this comment came in the last 24 hours. It is actually a call to action. Will the Forced Stimulus Recon get done? Yes, says Andrew Bates. He says the President of the United States, Joe Biden, will get that recon done. And I love everything about this quote. So let's go over the quote slowly because there's a lot in here. He says, Andrew Bates, spokesperson of Joe Biden, every major economic bill that this White House has passed, like the American Rescue Plan, second stimulus, and like the bipartisan infrastructure law, has seen ups and downs. What's an up and down? A down is a day in which you think that everything is just sinking. You think everything is just imploding. It looks bad. It looks like a bad San Francisco hairstyle. And up is a day in which everything just looks wonderful. You know, a day like when, sirloin just looks beautiful. It's like it's a day when everyone is air tagging you. Like the color wheel is working. The meatless tacos taste delicious. And you have all the extra scarves you need if you're Javita Light. That's an update. Then the next part of the quote. But we've also seen we've had to do work along the way. Work. This is what's so important about you, me, and this channel. Work is what this channel covers. This channel's not about the checks in the mail. If it was so easy the check is in the mail, it would have been in the mail weeks ago, months ago. It's not that easy to pass legislation. And anyone that tries to make it simple doesn't want to learn it. And anyone that wants to put a personality to the equation is not understanding that it's hard. So anyone who says they don't care, they're dragging their feet, they don't care, they forgot about us, they don't like it, they're working their butts off. They're working to get this done. They haven't forgotten. It's not so easy. Legislation is not so easy, unless you're in a dictatorship, which we're not. Next, here's one of the most important parts of this quote. He says that we need to do it by tuning out the noise. Okay, this is very important, and this is where we are going in the month of January 2022. Tuning out the noise or turning out the noise. Turning off the noise? What does that mean? It means that when we're working on the recon, we're not going to run our mouths and trash talk each other in the press. There's an old Godfather scene in The Godfather where they say, if you have a fight inside the family, you keep it within the family. You don't take it to the streets. That's what they're talking about. Let's give you an example. It means that you're not going to hear Senator number one going to press and running his mouth about a certain provision. How much I hate that provision. And then Senator number two saying, how dare you not like the provision? We need to put that provision in there. They're not going to be doing that anymore. This is helpful for so many reasons. One, it gets it done. Number two, animosity doesn't help any negotiations. Now, it has its drawbacks, and those drawbacks impact you and impact me. So let's go over those drawbacks right now. First, it has a drawback for you because you love news. You love being updated. You want to know what's different on Evenings LA versus Afternoons LA 2 hours ago. Something changed. I want to know what's new. And when they are tuning out the noise, that means they're not issuing press releases every 10 seconds. They're not calling press conferences. They're not appearing on Sunday morning news every 10 seconds. You're not going to have Senator 1 saying, I don't like this provision, Senator 2 talking about the provision every 10 seconds. That causes some people to say they're not working on it. Oh, they're working on it. They're just not giving you updates every 10 seconds. That may cause you to say that something is not going in there. It's going in there, just they're just not giving you updates every 10 seconds. Now, as a news reporter, you may think that it makes it harder on me. It sometimes does because I don't have a press release every 10 seconds. That'll make the news cycle change every hour on the hour from this channel. But I know how to do my reporting. I've been doing it for just a few minutes. And I will get you the updates every minute that I can, even if they are tuning out the noise. Next, you see this package of papers? This quote from Andrew Bates is before other quotes on this page. Guess what? I'm not reading the other quotes. Why? The other quotes are from, for example, a House member. I'm not going to say her name. A House member. She's a Democrat. Why am I not reading her quote? Because her quote is very negative. It's very negative. She says, the Fourth Stimulus recon, the Build Back Better Act, negative, negative, negative. Why do I need to run that quote? I don't, because guess what? She's in the House. They already passed the legislation. She's not even a senator. Let's even say she was a senator, even though she's not. It is the president who determines what legislation is passed. It is Chuck and Nancy who gets it passed for him. And that's it. If Andrew Bates, the president's spokesperson, says we're going to get it done, we're going to get it done. If Andrew Bates has another update tomorrow, if the Teal Monster has another update tomorrow, those are the quotes I'm going to run. I'm not going to run a random representative in the House of Representatives from a district of a state that has 2,000 residents, telling you the future of legislation that expands the entire United States. You see how shady I am? It's shady, but it's also true. She doesn't determine the future of it. No more does, a political commentator on a broadcast channel. That is where we are across the board. In the second half of this video, we have a lot coming up. We're going to go over the big checks in this recon. We're going to go over the major vote happening in the next 24 hours. It's perhaps one of the most dramatic elements you've seen on this channel in less than a month. We're going to go over third stimulus and how you can get more money further and farther than you ever thought before right today. We'll be turning to fifth stimulus. We'll be cutting back over to inflation and its impact coming from Omicron. I'll be answering some of the questions you've been asking in recent days. And I'm going to get you caught up as we go into real dramatics of what's happening out in the next 24 hours. Plus, you're going to see my commentary about the question of referring to the fourth stimulus check of 2021 versus 2022. It's actually a very important subject matter. It's coming up in the second half, plus all these incredible checks. I'll see you back in 60 seconds as Evenings LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them
and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues right now as Evening Daylight continues direct from Santa Monica, California. The rain is coming down right behind me. Maybe you'll be able to hear it as this broadcast continues. The recon will get passed in the Senate, so says the White House, with Senate changes across the board. But a major vote is happening in the next 24 hours, which is going to make the recon easier to pass. The programs in there I'm going to go over more in detail in the second half of this video. Get your pen and paper ready. Lots of checks, plus the big checks for third stimulus and student loan debt forgiveness, the latest details of that. Plus, what's going on with this stimulus, all the latest details on that COLA raise. Plus, you'll see my commentary about the equation of whether we call this fourth stimulus recon of 2021 or 2022. It's a little bit more than just calling something. It's actually very substantive. Those details and more coming up in the second half of this video. I'm excited you're here, but first go into this video and hit that subscribe button. I want you part of the viewership of this channel. Be part of the viewership by subscribing. You're watching LALATE, a #3 most watched financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Evenings Countdown, Evenings Street and Stimulus, and Evenings Extra across the board. Sign up to become subscribe today to become an incredible subscriber to the fastest growing channel of its kind. Tell people to come on over. Also like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes. It helps in the algorithm rankings, and consider becoming a member to get that incredible newsletter that comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that features the big money in the first, second, and third stimulus recon across the board. And with that, let's go over all the dramatics that's happening up tonight. Don't forget to sign up for those LA alerts as well. And the dramatics are teeing up for the event of Tuesday and potentially spanning into Wednesday. And what are all those details? I'm going to go over them right now. Never in this year's channel have I had an event that is so suspenseful, such a cliffhanger, such a reality TV show that that it leaves me speechless. And in this case, I don't know how it's going to end. Why? Because the guy behind it is keeping it a secret. Oh, should I bring back What the Chuck? I think I should. So let me go over what's happening. On Tuesday, there's going to be a major vote that'll make it easier to get the recon passed at a later date. Let me go over the details of what's happening on Tuesday, which could span into Wednesday. This is being staged, orchestrated, scripted, and plotted and strategized out by the White House, Nancy, and Chuck. It started last Friday when Nancy Pelosi passed in the House of Representatives a voting rights initiative bill. It's done. It's done out of the House. It's now in the Senate. Why that bill? Because the bill is very polarizing, and the bill would immediately cause Republicans to say, I don't want it. Everyone knows this among the Democrats. So Nancy passed it in the House, sent it Chuck. It is a setup they're doing. On Tuesday, Chuck Schumer is expected to call a vote on that same bill, the Voting Rights Initiative in the Senate. Step one, we know this. He's told us this. Number two, he's also told us that he believes that when he calls the vote, the Republicans are going to try to block it. Okay, set up. Yeah, he knows if he does this, this will happen. Set up. Okay, so let's go to step three. So let's say the Republicans do try to block the Voting Rights Initiative and attempt to effectuate a blockage on Tuesday. Then what happens thereafter? We know this one as well. Chuck Schumer says that if the Republicans block the Voting Rights Initiative on Tuesday, then he will call a vote to change the Senate rules. Oh my goodness. Now, this is very, very complicated and very elaborate, but I'm going to make it simple for you. What he is trying to do is use a single piece of legislation, the voting rights law bill, to change the Senate rules because it is such a polarizing bill, so that he can change the Senate rules and change them for future legislation when he calls that future legislation for a vote. Like your Build Back Better Act, your forced stimulus recon. Wow. How is he going to do this? I don't know. What Senate rules is he going to change? I don't know. How much of the rules are going to change? I don't know. He's not telling us. All we know is what his plan is. Republicans know what the plan is well. And it is fascinating. The end game is to try to get those Senate rules changed on Tuesday or Wednesday. And if they do, it makes it easier to pass your forced stimulus recon. And with that, let me go into a commentary. Usually I put commentaries at the end of the video, but I think it belongs right here. Let me go into a commentary of the issue of forced stimulus recon 2021 versus forced stimulus recon 2022. I've been getting some fascinating comments, and it hasn't happened once. It's happened a couple times, where people basically say the following comments. If LALATE says in the video, forced stimulus check updated 2021, I don't want to hear it. I only want to hear forced stimulus check updated 2022. I sent some people private messages or responded to them directly, which I usually don't do because I think this is so important. But I think that because I've seen it a few times, I want to address it right on camera. This is very, very, very important, folks. It's a very substantive, important thing. The forced stimulus recon, aka the Build Back Better Act, started in 2021, passed the House in fall, winter 2021. The provisions are in front of me. This is one package of provisions I'm going to go over in a second. They were written in 2021. How much, who gets it, how you get it, where you get it, that's all 2021. It's sent to the Senate. The Senate can enhance it, add to it, modify it. But as I've said over a year, they're likely not to remove something, and they're likely not to water it down. So let's use an example right off the board. I'm looking at the first provision right here, $72,500. So you need to know how it works. They ain't going to remove it, and they ain't going to water it down. It was written in 2021. When it's passed in the Senate, it'll be passed in the year 2022. So if anyone says, I only want to hear 2022, here's the problem. Is the language was written in 2021. You need to know what it is right now. Because in all likelihood, all these massive checks, which amount to somewhere between $15,000 to $60,000, are staying in there. They're staying in there. And you need to know exactly every check, how it works, who gets it, how it applies. I see your great questions. Keep those questions coming. People say, the home repair, the first-time home purchases. What type of home? Single family? What type of first? How does it define? What type of community? That's what you want to be doing. You want to know all this. You don't want to, there's several reasons why. First, that's the legislation. It's likely to stay the same and not get reduced or removed. So you need to know it the way it is now. That is legislation written in 2021, but will become a law in 2022. Number two, 2022 will not involve writing new bodies of these items again. These items that are in there are not going to be written brand new. Now, they're going to write new provisions to add other checks in there, but these you need to know. So if you're looking for an update of 2022, you're going to miss, $50,000, $60,000 of checks per person. That's very important. Next, it all evolves back to one of the earliest concepts of this channel from 2021. Purple Hawks. Hawk, hawk. You want to pounce as soon as it becomes law. And Purple Hawks, the concept was, as soon as something becomes law, you want to pounce and get that money right away. You can't be learning about what it is in 2022 if after the fact. So, for example, we're going to go right into some checks right now. All these checks, I want you to know what they are. If you have questions about it, send me questions about it. If you have questions in the live chat, post questions in the live chat. I want you to know what it is because guess what? When it becomes law, it's first come, first serve. We've been covering this for a long time on this channel, since April of last year. First come, first serve means there's money, and then it's going to get used, and then it's going to be gone. So for the person who says, I just want to know about 2022, No, we've already known the details about these checks in 2021. Don't wait to 2022 to learn about them. Don't wait to after it becomes law to learn about them. Learn about them now. So when it becomes law, you're first in line. I'm going to use this as a side anecdote. There was a day in May of 2020 when they reopened the EIDL grant. And I told people, remember Javita Lake, she appeared on Capitol Hill with Marco Rubio for one day, also like a Monday. And she said, we may be bringing it back for a few days. And then by Tuesday, 24 hours later, it was live. I was like, wait a second, Javita, you didn't give us an advance notice. It went live on Tuesday, I think it was. I immediately said on air, go get the money right now. People got funded within 24 hours who applied on Tuesday. By Wednesday, if you applied on Wednesday, you got it funded by Thursday. By people who applied on Thursday, they never got the money. The money has never been paid out, ever. It was that quick a turnaround. So that is why all this movement is so incredible across the board. All right, let's go over all these incredible provisions because that was a lot. Let's go over all these incredible provisions starting right now. They got in there the SALT cap, $72,500 of what you can deduct in state and local taxes on your federal tax return, raising it for $10,000 for what was in the Trump administration. They got cheaper prescription medication in there as well. That'll grow from 20 medications a day one to 30 medications at 2028. Medicare Part B, Medicare Part D, the most expensive medications across the board, dramatically discounted, like an insulin dose going from $1,000 to $35. They got $40 billion of job training in there. Big. These are free checks to get a higher paying job free. They got the Medicaid gap fix in there as well. The Medicaid gap fix will provide years of subsidized private insurance to low-income uninsured people in those 12 Republican holdout states. This is the workings of Raphael Warnock out of Georgia and Joe Manchin. You got to thank them for both of this. This will provide low-income uninsured people in those Republican states years of insurance. Then they got in there the housing provisions, two provisions added on, two provisions that are new for fourth stimulus, and the remainder are a paring back from third stimulus. So what are they? Well, they got in there the home repairs if you live in a low-income community and the weatherize your home across the board for many people. But they also got in there everything back from third stimulus. Tonight on third stimulus, I'm going to explain to you why you don't have to wait for fourth stimulus to become law, but more importantly, how you do third stimulus differently now in January 2022 that you may have done ever before. Third stimulus was passed in January 2021. And at the time when it passed, I told viewers of this channel, I think I can get you about $15,000 from this. Viewers on average got $45,000 in spring of 2021. In summer of last year, I said get another round. Some people got another round, but most viewers of this channel got another round in December of last year. We called it that the Christmas stimulus, the Santa stimulus. They got another round of this money. I'm going to go over this new round in just a second because this is brand new. You've never seen a round like this ever before until today. But first, let's go over the money. It is money for the rent. 6 places you're going to reach out to: City Hall, City House Authority; County Hall, City Hall, City House Authority; County Hall, County House Authority; State Hall, State House Authority. The keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. And if you're a member of this channel, follow along with the newsletter right now. I'm going through the details of what's featured in the newsletter. If you're not a member, become a member right now so you get that incredible newsletter at 7 p.m. tonight. Next, there's 3 musts. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must get applications on file everywhere, and you must do multiple rounds. More about those multiple rounds, which is very important, in just 10 seconds. Let's turn for a second to utility assistance. Pick up the phone and contact all utility companies, utility assistance because of COVID. Next, you want to get multiple rounds. Art Sullivan Nisi got those 3 items. They inspired countless viewers who got multiple rounds. All right, multiple programs. Let's turn to those rounds. We featured already just a second ago. People got it earlier last year, end of last year, middle of last year. Now we're in January 2022. What's different this time? I want you to get this round as far forward as possible. Shoot for May. Can't do May, do April. Can't do April, do March. Get it as far forward as possible with the government locations first. Then if the government locations are out of money, then lean on the nonprofits. The 6 nonprofits featured in the newsletter. Why are the nonprofits very important in January 2022? Because the nonprofits are funded not by Congress, not by the federal government, but by benefactors, donors, corporate donors. And the donation cycle usually starts in January. So they may have run out of money in late December. There were limited funds. They may have a lot more money today. That is why you want to do that across the board. Next, let me turn to the incredible story of Johnny. And Johnny's a true inspiration for us across the board. Johnny has a three-part story. First, Johnny started a particular week on this channel with $0, but by Wednesday had 3 programs approved. 3 programs approved, $45,000. By the end of the week, he had 7 programs approved and $80,000. $80,000. Part one of the story I like, not because of the $80,000, but because of the 7 programs. Here's what you need to know. To get 7 programs approved, you had to have made at least 15 phone calls because you're going to have about a 50% rejection rate when picking up the phone and calling. This is very important for your motivation, for your focus. Don't worry if someone says, sorry, don't have it. Sorry, out of money. Because 50% of the phone calls will be that way. You're doing it right. You're doing it correctly. So if someone says, no, we're out of funds, move on and contact someone else. Part 2 of Johnny's incredible story continued the following Monday. His 2 family members said, what'd you do last week? He said, I got $80,000 from LA. They said, what is it from? Third stimulus. He said, I never heard about this. Here's what you need to know. This channel, which you're watching right now, LA, is the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. Growing leaps and bounds day after day because of your incredible viewership. Tell people to come on over across the board. There's a lot of things to cover in financial news. Options, futures, bonds, crypto, metaverse. You see some of those subjects covered on this channel. You see some subjects not covered on this channel. Because I don't cover subject matter doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And they don't cover my subject matter, it means it doesn't mean it doesn't exist either. These programs are there for you to get. The third part of the incredible story is the spirit of helping one another. Johnny had people coming over to his house asking, can you help me get that money? He did help them, and they each got money. 32 people over following weeks. How much they get? $850,000. It's real. It happens. This is the spirit of the Purple Power. Continue to push, continue to advocate, and continue to help one another, and that's how we do it across the board. Let's turn to that student loan debt forgiveness. $10,000 offer. I don't know what the Democrats are doing. They should take the offer. Fifth stimulus. Very, very fascinating. We're going to go over fifth stimulus. Your COLA raise and also inflation starting right now. Your benefits check for this month of January 2022 will be 5.9% higher than last month's check. And that higher check will be just as high in February and in March and thereafter. COLA is your current benchmark that they look at every year in December or November to determine whether your benefits go up next year. Because it was 5.9%, your benefits checks are going up starting this month. Now, it's automatic. You don't have to do anything for that. That's first thing. Second, this stimulus looks to come in and say, you know what, that ain't going to cut it. It wants to remove the COLA benchmark and replace it with inflation. You want this because COLA doesn't move traditionally, and inflation does. Remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, remove the marriage penalty, and love is going to win, and marriage is going to conquer all. When I was covering fifth stimulus in spring of last year, I was trying to give you guidance of where that inflationary rate would be in December 2021. And I don't often pat myself on the back, but on this one I am, because I don't see anyone else who got this right except me. In spring of last year, I said I believe that the inflationary rate in December 2021 will be 8%. At the time, the Federal Reserve, Jay Powell, was saying 1% to 2%. Transitory, temporary, meaning it's going to go up and come back down in January. Wall Street is looking at 2% to 3%. I said, I don't see it. I see 8%. Department of Labor released the number last Friday for the month of December 2021. Where was it? It wasn't 1, it wasn't 2, it wasn't 3. It was 7.5. Right on the money where I predicted it to be. Moreover, it ain't coming down. What's important for you to understand is that we have inflation right now, but the inflation at issue from December and November of last year is getting a new inflationary add-on or its own inflationary event. And what is that inflationary event? Omicron. It's important for you to understand how it works because it impacts your wallet. You go to the gas station, you go to the supermarket. This is going to impact your wallet. I need you to understand what's going on. It's a very, very simple concept. Every business has employees, and 20, 30, 40, 50% of the employees, depending on where they are or what state or what county, are calling in sick because of Omicron. When they call in sick, the employer has to make a staffing change. So first, They can look and see who's available that is not sick, and they have already worked that week, potentially, so they have to pay them overtime. Costs more money to pay someone overtime than regular time. Or they got to bring in temporary labor, and that ain't cheaper either. That's more expensive. So what does the employer do? Passes the costs to you. So the loaf of bread is not $3, it's $4 because they had to hire temp or they had to do overtime. Situation is going to continue for a couple of weeks. I'm going to stay on top of it. I'm going to watch it with you. I'm not here to cover the health issue of Omicron. I'm here to go over the impact on your wallet of Omicron and inflationary concerns. I covered on Afternoons LA today at 3 o'clock, which is a new show as well, a very strange event. And I want you to know about this as well, because there's nothing that I do more than tell you things way far in advance. Told you about that inflationary rate in spring of last year. This event is very strange to report on because it's a rumor event. Rumor event? Let's go over something. In the universe of investing, in the universe of the financial markets, there's a thing called buy on the rumor, sell on the news. The concept is the following, that when rumors surface, people react in the financial markets. And when we see the news of the event, maybe the news is different than what the rumor is, then they react differently. Let's go over an example. Here's just a made-up story. Rumor, Tesla will have a new bicycle that'll come to market at the end of the year. Rumor. News. Press conference is held by Elon Musk later this week, says no, the rumor was false. So maybe Tesla goes up on the rumor and then it goes down on the news because there was no bike. That's an example. So what is the rumor news that I want you to know about? It's strange. It's strange I even have to report this, but it's so important that I need to cover it. It is the rumor, remember, not news, rumor that maybe Russia will invade Ukraine. Rumor. How will we see that rumor? We will see the rumor like any other rumor you'll see. Maybe you'll see an insider in Russia talking about, maybe you see a press release by Vladimir Putin. Maybe you see physical things like troops near a border or tanks near a border. It will be rumor. It won't be news initially. And then we'll find out if it's true or false. True news, false news. The event that'll impact the financial markets will be the rumor initially. So I want you to be prepared because this is how we do things on this channel. I want you to be alert about it. It will cause stocks to go down. It'll cause bonds to go down. It'll cause crypto to go down. It will cause a lot of turmoil. It's a major, major anticipated financial event. It's sort of like if you're watching the crypto shows on this channel, the metaverse channels, and I tell you that People's Republic of China comes in every few weeks and says something negative about Bitcoin. And when they do, it just causes a lot of problems. It causes things to go down. This will cause issues. And they will correct themselves if the rumor was false. But I want you to be prepared across the board. And there you go. Thank you for all your incredible comments throughout the day. Thank you for all your kindness throughout the day. A couple of community volunteers, past and present, are having are dealing with some health issues. So I want you to keep them in their prayers, like you kept me in your prayers. A couple of viewers are having have contracted Omicron. They've been in the live chat saying they got Omicron or their family members got Omicron. Keep them in your prayers. Finally, keep it all positive. My new leash on life is it's all positivity. I mean, you always know I was positivity, but it's all positivity. So if someone doesn't have positivity, gone. Just gone. Coming up tonight is a lot of great shows. Evenings LALATE has a big blockbuster of shows nightly, and you're loving it. 5 o'clock is the new Evenings LALATE every night. 6 o'clock is 6 o'clock is Evenings Countdown every night. 7 o'clock is Home, Street, and Stimulus. 8 o'clock is the blockbuster new show, Evenings Extra. And then we go into overnights LALATE, which is at 9, 10, and 11:30. We return back in the next morning with Sunrise LALATE at 3 and 3:30, early mornings LALATE at 4. Then mornings countdown at 7, and then back on air at 9. And today we're a little bit late for mornings LALATE live on air. And with that, I want you part of this incredible family. Remember, we're all here together to help one another. And subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful evening. Enjoy all these incredible football games because, boy, I'm trying to catch up on them as well. And remember, it don't matter if it's 2021 or 2022. You can dance like it's 1999. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.